Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cincinnati Legacy Open. I'm Glenn Jones, joined by Caleb Durward.
Hi,
Caleb,
folks.
how's it going in the tournament so far?
Not exceptionally well.
I'm exceptionally well. All right.
No, I'm doing pretty average. I'm 4-2 right now, so
battling for the money.
Battling for the money.
Well, you came with, as usual, a little bit of a brew. You wrote about this one, I know, recently on Channel Fireball.
I did do that.
You're playing Birthing Pod in Legacy. You've kind of adapted Nick Fit into this Birthing Pod shell, and that's where you're jamming today.
Right.
So why don't you go ahead? I know first off that you've played a lot of Nick Fit or Explorer Rock, for those of us who prefer names that communicate how a deck functions. But what draws you to Nick Fit as a strategy in Legacy?
The nice thing about Nick Fit is that Pernicious Deed gives you one of the best sweepers in the format against the fair decks, and then using Veteran Explorer Cabal Therapy gives you not only disruption against the opponent's hand, like you're shredding their hand, but you're also fetching out a pile of basics. So you're advancing your own board state while you're destroying their ability to do anything.
Sure.
So even if you are giving them basics, you're taking away their ability to do anything with it.
Yeah, and at the same time, because they're basics, you're getting out of Wasteland range, and you're also ramping up to be able to play spells they, literally don't ever play against because they cost 6 mana, like Grave Titan.
Grave Titan, Recurring Nightmare.
Yeah.
Recurring Nightmare is one of the reasons I think to play Pod over typical Nick Fit, because when you're playing typical Nick Fit, you don't have that critical mass of creatures. You're not necessarily chaining creatures into your graveyard. With Recurring Nightmare, you just draw it and you're like, oh my god, this does everything at once.
Yeah.
And you just do everything at once. It's very good.
So one of the changes that you made was you added blue to the deck in order to get access to obviously some more pod targets. It gives you Deceiver Exarch and Phantasmal Image, which are both exceptional.
Right. Both of those cards have been excellent today. Baleful Strix is another card that made me want to try Pod. Usually when I'm playing a Pod deck, there's some kind of draw card creature in there, and Baleful Strix is just the best draw card creature of all time. And we just get to play 4 of them. And that's amazing. He's
very good in Legacy. I know you already cited that it makes the rug matchup. It's obviously a weapon there.
Excellent there.
Your deck is obviously pretty good there. As you noted before, you consider it one of your best matchups.
Right, definitely the best matchup. The Baleful Strix also increases your velocity, like you cantrip a lot, and then that draws you into the other things that you're trying to do in the deck. Keeps you from stalling out.
Has a lot of synergy with both Pod and Recurring Nightmare, as you pointed out. You're not going to run out of creatures if they're all cantrip creatures.
Right, exactly.
Makes a lot of sense.
Value Town Central.
And the last blue card you added to your deck is one that's reasonably popular in the format already. So it's Brainstorm. You're running 4 Brainstorm, which obviously when you have the likes of Veteran Explorer, Birthing Pod, all your fetch lands.
Plenty of shuffle effects.
Plenty of shuffle effects.
Sometimes you put in a creature that you want a pod for.
Yeah.
And complete the pod chain that way.
That actually seems like it would come up a lot to me personally.
It comes up a reasonable amount. And then sometimes like you draw Grave Titan in the early game and you're like, well, I won't be able to do this for 2 more turns, so you put it back.
The early game, indeed. Grave Titan's only 2 turns away, boys.
When I added Brainstorm, it was actually a suggestion by the guy that initially made Birthing Pod, or not Birthing Pod, that initially made Nick Fit the first time, the deck's originator. He was like, well, Brainstorm's a really very good card for the early game, and I don't think you need that much help with the late game. So before I was playing Sensei's Divining Top, which gives you this like accrued value over several turns.
Sure.
So several turns of topping is better than like one Brainstorm, like it's more powerful than that. But when you don't need like the power over several turns, which Birthing Pod gives you, then you might as well play the better filter card, which is Brainstorm.
Yeah, more explosive, obviously can get you out of a bind much faster. Top's not the most efficient.
And I tested it out, and he's probably right. I also had Green Sun Zeniths before, and with Brainstorms, there's no room for a Green Sun Zenith package, and they would have been very good for me in some matchups earlier. So, I don't know.
So you're not 100% sold on the Brainstorms yet?
I'm not 100%, but I am like 80%.
80%? All right. Do you think, I mean, you just said, you don't think Green Sun Zenith and Brainstorm can coexist. You think that's
as far as number of slots go. You have a limited number of slots. Clearly the 2 cards work well together. One's a shuffle effect, one's a filter.
Sure. So you just think that basically the size of your deck is not big enough to complement both. So
Correct.
We have to obviously get a critical number of green creatures, bullets that you can tutor for, all that kind of nonsense.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you've played the deck through 6 rounds now, so have you figured out any changes you'd like to make going forward?
I got to play against Reanimator, which I'd never played against, and I found out that I have an excellent game against Reanimator. So that was
fortunate.
Right, yeah. It was like Phantasmal Image, your Grizzlebrand, like draw my deck. No, it was great. I don't know about any changes necessarily. The 2 rounds that I lost, I made some miscalculations, and I think they should be good matchups. Like I'm playing a Pernicious Deed deck, and I managed to lose to Maverick, and that shouldn't happen. Yeah. So I clearly made some mistakes along the way. I don't know if And it's not a matter of like never drawing the Pernicious Deed. I know that I'm only running 2. It was a matter of like screwing up my mana base and not actually being able to cast the card.
Just sequencing yourself to the correct late game
Right,
and getting there alive.
So far, I haven't encountered a matchup that would make me want to change the list.
Okay, so
possibly cutting a Birthing Pod for a second Recurring Nightmare, because that card is bonkers.
Yeah, every time I walked by your matches, it seemed like you were killing someone with Recurring Nightmare, and you only have the
I've had
one.
multiple opponents read it and go, "This card's legal. Like they don't let you play this in EDH. Why would they let you play it in Legacy?" You know, it's very good.
So going forward, can we expect to see you sleeving up some more Birthing Pods at Legacy Opens?
Definitely. I think this card is strong. I think that if I had more experience going into the tournament with it, then I would probably have a better record. I'm having a ton of fun.
Yeah, the deck looks pretty fun. I'm kind of considering putting it together on Moto already myself. So thanks for showing us a sweet deck, and good luck.
Thank you.